Welcome back to the Up and Running Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, as always, here with Turkey. We're your Up and Running Podcast because we hope whenever you get up and running, we're right there with you. Justin, how are we feeling?
Oh, man, it's a good day, baby. Always a good day.
True that, man. We had a lot of feedback from episode 1. We had a lot of good things. We got a couple good pointers and some good critiques. And so, again, find us find us on X or Twitter or wherever you find your social media at Up and Running Pod. We're right there. Justin's personal handle there, mine's there as well. We'll take any kind of questions, comments, concerns, things you want to see something differently. So find us there. Hit us up. We're welcome to talk to anyone about anything. Justin, we got a full slate today of things. But first, we're going to kick it off with what a wild card weekend. Justin, NFL delivered once again.
Well, it did. The biggest thing to me that it delivered was complete nonsense. Just what in the world was going on? You had a team that was destined for the Super Bowl midway through the year, 10-1. You had another team that finished the regular season 12-5, looking like they were hitting it right when they needed to hit it. You had a lot of frauds out there, my Dolphins being one of them. But then you had something that we haven't seen in a long time in Houston and Cleveland. C.J. Stroud showed up and balled out.
Yeah, he did.
But so did his defense.
Sure.
His defense came with him.
Listen, I got to give you credit. Something you brought up last show, you said the Texans could win by 30. And, Justin, they showed up. You were right. I got to give you credit where credit's due.
Thank you.
And let me tell you, that was a heck of a call. I thought Cleveland would have played better than that. I also thought C.J. Stroud might have been a little bit afraid of the big lights. But, Justin, you're right. He stepped up in a big way. He has shown to be time and time again tough against defenses, but he steps up when the Texans need him the most.
Yeah, he does. And, it's like you brought up, you don't bet on a road favorite. Well, Cleveland looked like they were having a magical season, but their defense did not show up. Stroud was just sitting back there taking naps, eating a little sandwich, having a drink, and could do whatever he wanted to do. That game surprised me. Flacco didn't surprise me. I didn't think he was going to throw 2 pick sixes back to back. But at the end of the day,
horrible.
There's a reason he wasn't starting in the NFL.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, and hey, shout out to Austin and the random guy in Vegas that taught us never to bet on a road favorite. And also shout out to Matty B, who his Browns got worked, which I never want to root for anyone losing. But if Matty B loses, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you can't be mad at him losing. He wins enough.
We all got that one friend in the group chat that you love to just root against, and he's a Buckeye fan, he's a Brown fan. I'm always going to root against him. I can tell you that.
He's a Buckeye fan.
Oh, tell me about it. But listen, Houston got a big win, and that's a big win that I think that's going to propel them. And there's a lot of momentum riding in the next game going at Baltimore.
Yeah. So you get to the divisional round, you got to play Baltimore, and Baltimore was a buzzsaw for 2 of the top teams, or what thought to be 2 of the top teams in San Francisco and Miami. Miami is a fraud. But San Francisco is a good, well-rounded offensive team, a juggernaut, really. Best running back in the league, best whatever kind of quarterback you want to call him. Brock Purdy can do a lot of things, and he does them well. But at the end of the day, Baltimore said, we'll take your best, and we're going to show you why we're better.
Yeah, sure. That's going to be a good game.
If Houston's offensive line can block, and C.J. Stroud can do what he did, and the defense plays the same kind of defense. 2 pick sixes is kind of hard to replicate. But at the end of the day, if they can show up against Baltimore, it has a chance to be one of the highest scoring games in the NFL because it's 2
really, you think so?
Offenses. Oh, I think the defenses can show up, and the only reason that Houston's defense is going to show up is to stop Lamar maybe 2 or 3 times because he is just phenomenal.
Well, that's a first.
He's been people doubting him was the wrong move. It's taken him a while, injuries and not the right team there, but he's got a team now that he can really do something with, and he's doing it all. And he's passing the ball around, he's handing the ball off, and he's running himself. The defenses. Baltimore's always been known for the defense. I think Baltimore comes out on top. I think they come out about 2 touchdowns, but I think it could be like you're looking at a 28-42 type game or higher. I mean, that's where I'm setting it. 70 points easily, no doubt in my
Wow,
mind.
listeners, we're under 5 minutes, and our first bold prediction of the episode. Please reach out to us on X, wherever you're at Up and Running Pod. Again, I'm Mike, co-hosted forever and always is Turkey, the big fella. He's here. He's making bold predictions. He's saying this could be one of the highest scoring games in the NFL this season. Reach out to us. Hit us up on the DMs. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think about that. At Up and Running Pod. I'm also on there, M211, and there's Turkey as well on there. You can find us. Find us on X. Find us wherever you're listening on your podcast. It's Spotify, Apple. Give us a like. Give us a rating. Give us a review. Tell us what you think. So, Justin, we're talking about Texans and Baltimore being a high-scoring game, but before we dive too much into the divisional round, we got to go back to the game everybody's talking about. We got to go back to the game that had everyone's attention, captivated the nation in a sense. We're all freezing together as we watched everyone freeze in the stadium. You had mustaches freezing. You had beards exploding. You had Patrick Mahomes' helmet getting busted. Justin, your Dolphins did not show up. KC in a big way. Tua played like trash. Mahomes got away with a lot, but freezing cold temperatures. Justin, what do you think of the game?
I think it just goes down to those guys don't play in those temperatures. They were scared. Scared's not the right word. They weren't prepared. Mike McDaniel wasn't prepared.
How can you be prepared? It's negative. At one point, I'm watching this game with my father.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this. I'm watching this game with my father, and he's freezing cold inside the house watching the game, Justin. He's so cold watching everyone else freeze. It felt like negative 27 out there. You played for a while. Talk me through from a player's perspective. You're also watching as a fan of the Dolphins for sure, but what is that temperature like, Justin? I mean, what does that do for players? How do you prepare for that?
Look, the coldest we played in, we had like a freezing ice in the morning or freezing rain in the morning, and it's cold. I mean, and you're talking, it could be 32 degrees, but the second that helmet pops you, or some of my fellow linemen would come over and smack you on the arm, like it just hurts. Everything hurts. Like, I can't imagine, like, Travis Kelce's looking up in the stands, "Hey, Taylor," and he's got no shirt on under his jersey, and I'm like, bro, you are dying out there. Stop trying to be a man. Be comfortable. And I think that's one thing that the offensive linemen and defensive linemen, I get it, okay? But as someone who, like, especially on the golf course, anything that interrupts your train of thought in such a big game, like, I don't care what you think of me. I'm going to be comfortable so I can go make those plays. And Under Armour and all these other companies make stuff to do that. I really thought having Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins would have been a bonus. Like, they'd have been able to do something with him. Like, hey, so what happened here? How can you help us? And he's out there in a T-shirt warming up. It's like, come on, man. Like, and you've got to be cold. But, at the end of the day, you can't prepare for it if you've never done it before. It's just hard. But it's just like the playoffs. Just like you're talking about C.J. Stroud. Those big lights. Until you do it, you can't prepare for it. Now, are there many teams that can go there and do it? Not really. But Miami wasn't built to beat Kansas City in the cold weather. And through the last 8 games of the season, they've shown they're not really ready to beat any playoff team.
Is that a home field advantage for KC going forward, do you think, if they get the opportunity to play at home again? Is that a home field advantage playing in that kind of weather?
Yes, if they beat Buffalo and Houston beats Baltimore, it's home field advantage 100%. Houston's a dome team. Their opponent that would be in the cold, Indianapolis, so I guess Tennessee could too, but Indianapolis is in a dome too. So their one opponent, their other opponent, Jacksonville's just like Miami, in Florida, nice weather.
And Houston's a warm weather team as well, just like the Dolphins.
So the weather doesn't affect them, right?
But I mean, I guess as like you're going, I mean, you're only inside the dome for the times you're playing the game. Otherwise, you have to live in Houston, and I mean, so it's warm. They're used to warmer climates, I guess. These guys, most of them live in KC. I'm assuming if they play for the Chiefs, and it's cold there. I mean, it's negative 27. We saw that. So, walk me through kind of the game. Like, what from a Dolphins fan, I know it's easy for you to critique the team, but what went wrong? You talked about McDaniel. What could he have done better?
Well, they could have prevented, Chubb getting injured in the last game of the season by leaving him in too long. Or that was against Baltimore. But there's not much that he could have done. Like, I'm not going to sit here and make, you got to play with what you have, okay?
Sure.
But the injuries on defense, your two best starting ends go out. You're talking about a quarterback that can make throws blindfolded with one arm. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can absolutely play the position, okay? Especially the way it's played now. I don't know that you can do much. To hold them to 26 points when they had opportunities, that's amazing. But the offensive side of the ball, I really don't know. I'm not questioning Tua. I think Tua's still a good quarterback. I think having Waddle wasn't really utilized in the first half. Tyreek Hill was getting just bludgeoned to death by the cornerback. And I think that's exactly how you have to play him. You've got to be physical in the first 3 yards. Don't let him get off you. If he gets off you, he's gone. And they stop that. And I think that's the part that Mike McDaniel needs to stop doing, is relying on Tyreek Hill to bail out Tua and the Dolphins. Because when he went out against Tennessee, they lost. And if they win that game, they're playing at home. Now they're playing the Bills again in the wild card weekend, but they're at least playing at home.
Sure. Tough loss. It's tough.
It's a tough loss because we had so much promise. But if you look at the season again, the last time they won the AFC East. They had the easiest schedule in the league, and that was back, I believe, in 2011 when Brady went out. So you look at this team and go, okay, the offense is great. The defense was better, and actually the defense was really good. It just the cornerback play got bad because we had injuries. But you can't rely on one guy. Whether it's a quarterback, a receiver, or a running back, you cannot rely on one guy. And that's what we did all season. And when he wasn't available on Sunday, or Saturday, that's what happened. We got exposed, and Kansas City only had to score 26 points.
Well, you talk about a perfect time for you and I starting this podcast when you have 2 weeks of just unbelievable heartbreak as a fan. You are you lose Saban, Saban retires, Bama doesn't win a title. The Dolphins have promise. Tua shows up, Bama guy, plays like trash under the lights, and they get beat. It's tough in Turkey's household right now to be a fan. So speaking of heartbreak,
right now, I'm stuck
in that
to
same
watching
line,
hockey, which I don't mind. Look, I love some hockey, but it's like football's okay, I guess.
Yeah, so, true that. And listen, speaking of heartbreak,
the worst thing is Brandy is a diehard Cowboys fan, and wow,
that's exactly where I was going.
I'll take my
heartbreak
for these 2 weeks than their heartbreak
speaking of
for the
heartbreak,
last 30 years.
That one was a tough one. I feel for Brandy. Zach, one of the guys in the group chat we've talked about. We're going to mention the group chat a lot on this show. Again, it's Up and Running Pod. Follow us wherever you are on X, Twitter, at Up and Running Pod. Give us a like. Give us your feedback, comments. We'll take it all. Especially if you're a Cowboys fan. Let's hear. What do you think? Should Dak stay? Should Dak go? Can you win with Dak? Can you win a playoff game? I know the news broke today that looks like there was not going to be a head coaching change in Dallas. And so with those Cowboy fans, you have all this promise. You're one of the highest seeds. You don't get the bye, and then you just lay an egg, and there's nothing you can do but just offer heartbreak to your fans. I mean, what is going on in Dallas?
Well, first thing is laying an egg is exactly what they did. Did they lay one against San Francisco? Because if they didn't lay one against San Francisco, this is who they are. LaFleur came out and said, "We're gonna," and everybody's made this point, and I want our listeners to understand something. When you play football, unless you are that cocky, you kick the ball. You always kick the ball. And here's why. Because you get the ball back at the end of the first half, coming into the second half. You have time to make adjustments. Generally, the way a football game works out is 4 possessions for the person that receives, 3 possessions for the person that doesn't. And he came out and said, we want the ball, and we're going to run it down your throats, and we're going to take half a quarter to do it. And McCarthy's on the other sideline going, okay. And everything he had thought of, it's like Coach Klein lost his green little book in The Water Boy. That's what happened to Mike McCarthy.
That's a good one.
And
That's a good one.
then Dak throws a pick. The
So
Green
I
Bay
want to talk
Packers
about
don't
that.
stop scoring.
Hold on one second for that. So I wanted to bring that up. So I've heard quite a few people tell me this, and in preparation for the show, I was talking to someone about this, and they said when Dak threw that first pick, you could tell all the air was let out of the Cowboys, and they knew it was over from that point on. Agree?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it wasn't the pick. I mean, the pick just solidified it. The score at the end of the first half. Everybody was like, well, they just need to score. Okay, well, they score, but not until Dak throws a pick six. And the question is did Green Bay just go and do nothing but watch Dallas Cowboy film? Because they were on every play. There were some drop passes, and everybody wants to make something about receivers and quarterbacks getting into it, but you do as much as CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott have, you're going to have some arguments, but generally It's because you're both frustrated about the same thing. You're not winning the game you should win.
Yeah.
When I read the news today that McCarthy was going to stay in Dallas, does he keep calling plays or does he find an offensive coordinator? I mean, is it too much? I'll tell you this.
Jerry can't be happy. Jerry cannot be happy out there in Dallas. Just
no,
can't.
And I don't think he is. But it's like, why is Jerry Jones the wannabe George Steinbrenner of the NFL, but is so afraid to fire somebody?
Snip that clip and put it up on Twitter later. Wow, why does Jerry Jones want to be the wannabe George Steinbrenner? You heard it here first, everyone.
Steinbrenner fired somebody twice in the same day. This guy won't fire somebody who's been horrible. I mean, Jason Garrett's another one. It's like you need to. He's getting you here, and that's great. 3 years, you're 36-15. Yeah, 36-15. Okay. There's not a team that's looking for a coach right now that wouldn't sign up for that. Not one team. Okay.
True.
But the next thing they're not going to sign up for is 0 forever in the playoffs. Oh, excuse me, they got one win. They don't want that either. You got to make changes.
Yeah, you do.
I think that's the thing with Jerry, and I really think he needs to get away from the GM role, but I think he really cares about the guys he brings in. I think he really cares and has feelings for them, and it's hard. I mean, it's a business. It's hard, but sometimes you got to set them feelings aside and be like, look, man, you ain't getting the job done, and we got to win a Super Bowl because I don't know what else to do.
That's going to be a new segment on the show, getting in your feelings with Turkey, because that's exactly what we're doing here. Setting your feelings aside. I love it. So sticking with the NFC East, maybe the NFC East is just not that good because Philly goes down. And Philly was a Super Bowl favorite. I mean, you're talking about a team that was thought people were going to come out of the NFC. I mean, so maybe the NFC East just isn't good?
Oh man, I really don't want to say that, but
I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think, is a little more banged up than people realized. They didn't have A.J. Brown, and so you didn't have some pieces. And I'm a big Hurts fan. I think Hurts is a gamer. I think he can win ball games, but I don't think he was 100%.
Oh, no, I know that's not – I know he wasn't 100%. I was trying to see what Dallas and Philly had combined, like the same teams they played. Just to kind of give you a quick comparison on a couple of them.
Sure.
But
I tell you what they have in common. They're playing golf like we are. That's exactly what they have in common. They're exactly right now playing golf, and their fan base is again screaming for change, screaming for wins. Because again, Philly fans are tough. Philly fans expect a title, and so you're talking about Philly and Dallas both are expecting titles when they lace up in preseason. That's what they're expecting, and so. Both are now getting a chance to work on their golf game, which you and I are doing the same. So maybe that's what they got in common.
Yeah, it's because they didn't really play a tough schedule. I mean, the Eagles beat the Bills when they were 6-6. That they were 10-1 at this point. The big thing that with Hurts, I listened to RG3, and he's no quarterback guru, but. What he did say is, he says, when you hold the ball, your middle finger is one of your most important ones. And that's the one that Hurts is injured right now. I mean, it definitely affects him, his throwing. I mean, if you were betting
Sure,
last night, you're
got
betting
to.
the under on pass attempts, right?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
or Monday night, excuse me. But the Buccaneers stopped the tush push. I mean, does that not say what is going on in Philly? I mean,
I
they,
think.
they
Listen, I think
stopped a
the
play
Bucks
that
played
nobody
better
else
than
could
people were giving
stop.
them credit for. They played better than people were giving them credit for. They really
Well,
did.
the Bucks showed up. Don't
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
wrong. The Buccaneers showed up,
Baker's a
but
gamer. Listen, I've always said Baker's a gamer. People hate on Baker Mayfield. He's not the most technically sound quarterback. He's not the one that's gonna, be flashy with the arm, make these great throws on move. No, but he's a gamer. The kid can win. He really can. I've always thought he was a gamer. Did he have some bumps and bruises in Cleveland? But who doesn't? I mean, name a Browns player that didn't have bumps and bruises. You got to go way back before you and I were born before you talk about that. But I think Baker is a gamer, and I thought he played well. I do think, however, the Bucks are running into a buzzsaw in Detroit. And no one's ever said that statement before, that Detroit's our buzzsaw. I mean, this is the Lions we're talking about. But I think Detroit has a legit team, but also they have arguably one of the best leaders in their head coach. That guy, I would run through a brick wall for. And that's what I think it takes nowadays. In today's society, in today's sports realm, good leadership gets wins.
so just a side note on the NFC East, because I 100% agree with you. Had Jimmy Johnson been in that halftime locker room, they might have come back and won that game
Good leaders.
because my
Good
man
leaders.
was fired up. And I can tell you, that's what you have to have. Mike McCarthy doesn't pose me as a guy that's going to get in there and get after you. I mean, Saban does it on the field, or did it on the field, right? Dan Campbell resembles everything that every player ever wanted out of a coach. And
Good
nobody
point. Good
associates
point.
Dan Campbell with a brain. Okay? Nobody associates him as being a smart guy. He's a big brute. He played football, blah, blah, whatever. That guy knows how to coach football. He knows how to play football, and he's smart. He's not a moron. He's a smart guy. And it's not a fake person out there. That's who he is, but he also is a very smart person. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not anybody in that locker room that wouldn't play for him, and there's not anybody in that locker room that he wouldn't give his life for. He loves those guys.
I believe that. I believe that. And listen, I think that's the team to look for to come out of the NFC. I really do. I think leadership's a big thing. I said at the beginning of the year, I said the Lions are going to be a different team. The Lions are going to be a problem. They upset KC week one. I don't know if people want to think back and remember that far. The Lions beat KC opening game of NFL, and I said the Lions are going to be a problem.
In
And here we
Kansas
are
City. In
in
Kansas
Kansas City.
City. And proved why Kansas City, yes, they won a title last year, but proved why Kansas City needs to revamp its offense, or losing Bieniemy cost them some of their offense. But regardless of that, Detroit is definitely a different team. It's a team we haven't seen, a team that hasn't won a playoff game, and well, not one that you and I remember. We were too young, but Detroit's a team that I think can do it. Again, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. The playoffs are going to run through Baltimore and San Francisco. And if Detroit wins this week, I'm sure that's who they're going to face. I don't think Tampa has a chance against San Francisco. Detroit's got to go to San Francisco and play a team that is absolutely hungry with a healthy Brock Purdy, mind you.
I think the AFC runs through the winner of this KC Buffalo game. I don't think Baltimore or Houston want any parts of either one of those teams. I do think Buffalo gets its revenge from the overtime thing. I would love to see this game go into overtime just for the storybook. You couldn't write a better script. Let this game go into OT and see what happens. But I think Buffalo does come out on top, and I don't think anybody wants to see either Buffalo or KC. NFC, I'll give it to you, but I'm going to stick with Detroit. I'm going to stick with leadership. I'm going to back that all day long.
So we've just about covered every game and who we like. Real quick, one last note. Pittsburgh's got issues, but again, Mike Tomlin has made the playoffs multiple years out of his career, 17 there, I believe, and he's never had a losing season.
Shout out to Mike Tomlin.
He's another coach that they were trying to put on the chopping block, coming back next year. But moving forward, all right.
As he should. as he should.
And I don't think there's no reason to get rid of him. They've got to do better in the draft, and a couple things there. But outside of that, I think he's still one of the best in the entire NFL. And it's proven that his players want him there. Houston, Baltimore, who you got?
Baltimore. I had to think about it for a second. It's closer than I think people are going to give credit for, but I don't think you can give a Harbaugh that much time to scout. And I don't think that. Listen. I've gone against C.J. Stroud every single game, and so listen. I'm not going to stop now. He's proved me wrong every single time. I'm sure our Houston listeners are thrilled that I'm picking Baltimore, but I'm going with Baltimore.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick Baltimore too, and again, I think it's a 2-touchdown game Baltimore's way. Buffalo, KC.
I think Buffalo gets the revenge. I do, but I'm also a big. You talk about gamers, so let's back up a little bit to a couple years ago when our listeners were those guys that have been in group chats, guys and girls that are in group chats, talk sports. You play different fantasy sports. You talk and you analyze sports. You're going to have predictions and bold predictions. We all do it. One of my biggest bold predictions was in that draft, Josh Allen was going to be the best quarterback to come out of that draft. And I think he's right there. And so I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I thought he was great at Wyoming. I think he can ball. I think he can play. I also think that he's a winner. Tough lose an OT game. I'll give him that. But I think Josh Allen gets the revenge. I think Buffalo wins.
If good Josh Allen shows up, I agree with you. If the Josh Allen I want to see every week shows up, then they don't. But I'm going with Buffalo too. I don't think KC's that strong. I think they have problems, and I think they're playing in Buffalo. And granted, I don't care about the weather. They're playing in Buffalo, and if you know Buffalo fans, they are absolutely insane. I watched a video the other day of 4 children light
Bills Mafia,
regular 6
Bills Mafia
on fire in the snow and jump on it with their parents watching. Things I wouldn't do.
Shout out to Bills Mafia. If you're a Bills Mafia, give us a like. Let us know you're part of the Bills Mafia. We love seeing the table videos. They're hilarious. So brought the NFC. Justin, I'm going to flip it back to you. You're going to lead us off of the NFC. Where are you going on Green Bay, San Fran?
My son Mason, who will be on the show at some point, he's a big San Francisco fan. And as much as I'm not picking for the love. I have to pick because it's a smart pick, but I'm going to say I'm picking because of Mason. But San Francisco will win this game. They're going to win this game defensively. They're going to win the game offensively. They're going to win on special teams. I don't care what LaFleur does. You're not playing in Dallas against a team that wasn't prepared. You're playing against the San Francisco 49ers.
There you go. Bet with your head, not with your heart. I like it. True wisdom coming from Turkey there. All right, now we're going to move on to the last game of the divisional round. We're going to go Tampa Bay, Detroit. I've already made my prediction. You already know where I'm going there. Justin, what say you?
The tough part for me is I really like Dan Campbell. I really, really like Dan Campbell. But I can't say that I want to bet Tampa Bay. It's just, man, Baker Mayfield, that magic, that Todd Bowles magic at coaching. I mean, just the way they absolutely shut down Philadelphia. I mean, shut them down. Now, this is a team that also scored 9 points against the worst team in the league in Carolina. So where do you go? Dan Campbell's not going to go and lose this game. Dan Campbell's will come in and win. So as much as I think Tampa Bay has a shot, I do think Detroit comes out on top.
There you go. All right, there's our predictions. That's Mike's. That's Turkey's. We're the Up and Running podcast. Wherever you are, wherever you listen, find us on Spotify. Reach out to us on X, Twitter, at Up and Running Pod. Again, when you get up and running, we're going to be right there with you. All right, Justin, we spent a lot of time last episode talking about an emotional day for you. Saban left. And so let's touch on a little bit. There's been some news since our last podcast. Alabama football has hired their next head coach. What is the Roll Tide community saying about this new hire?
Well, a lot of good stuff. Kalen DeBoer is going to be one of the best coaches to follow a legend.
Wow. Bold prediction. I like it.
He started immediately when he got there of finding good people to come in. Now, offensively, I don't doubt anything he does offensively. The Pac-12 is known for their offense. just the things they do there are completely different than what happens in the SEC. But where he needed to shore up was the defense. Now,
Okay.
Caleb Downs is a freshman, started All-American. He's in the transfer portal. The question is can he find a way to get him out of the transfer portal? He's a freshman. He's going to do big things. Lost a couple players. That's expected. I did read today a couple of the Alabama fans have a lot of them have Twitter accounts, but I read that a couple of these players are like, well, coach hasn't reached out to me. Coach hasn't done this. Look, he got hired less than 7 days ago, has to do a bunch of media stuff, take care of things as a coach. If you can't wait, if you're that impatient and you want to leave the greatest football program in the history of college football and go play for a secondary school, you do what you got to do. Because the bottom line is, if they ain't in Crimson, I ain't even got to finish. But the fact that this is the mentality of these players, Caleb Downs, I can understand. You know, if you're top 5 and you're like, you know what, I signed up to play for Nick Saban. That's who I signed up to play for. But you are this close to going to Georgia under Kirby Smart, and you're a defensive player, 100% understand. Kirby Smart is a defensive-minded guy. He coached at Alabama for years before he got the job at Georgia. Completely get it. Great recruiter, understand.
Okay. So let me tell you this. One of the things. Yeah. Go ahead.
When you're not, I don't want to hear that nonsense. He hadn't called me. He hadn't sat me down yet.
That might just be kids today. That might just be this new student athlete, right? Wanting those kind of things. And that's what we're facing right now. We're facing that new student athletes. They pull up in Mercedes, they pull up in BMWs, they pull up in Maseratis, and they don't care. They just want to play ball, and that's fine. But you still got to get an education. You still got to be part of the team. You still got to listen to coaches. You still got to try to get better, because when you're 18 years old, you don't know everything. You just don't. Part of life is, I'm not saying everyone has to go through the same life experiences, because that's impossible and we're never going to do that. And I'm not saying you got to be a certain age to be considered mature. No. But when you do develop and you gain more life experience, whether that's at 18, 20, 25, 30 even, when you gain life experience, you become wiser and you make better decisions. You make better choices. You realize also what's more important to you and what are your priorities, what really does matter, because every single day we get up is one less day we have. Make the best of it.
Right.
So, Alabama. All right, so Roll Tide Community's got a new coach coming in. Justin, he's not from the South. He is a northern individual. He has been in the North. He's from, I think, South Dakota. I think he went to college in South Dakota. West Coast Washington, Northwest, let's say, with Washington. Is that a factor at all? Is that something that we're concerned about? You know, I think about Alabama fans, and I think, look, this is the South. This is Roll Tide. I mean, we're from the South.
I think the world has changed a lot. Not the world in like an essence of we're out of the 1960s and Deion Sanders can come coach in Alabama, right? But the world has changed in the way that we communicate so much that you and I are doing this right now. You're in Texas and I'm in Virginia, right?
True that.
I think that Alabama probably doesn't have as much as what you and I are doing going on, but I love you. But, I think bringing somebody from the outside in isn't such a big deal. I mean, Saban was a West Virginia guy. His dad was, his dad was a football coach in West Virginia. But at the end of the day, I think what fans want now and what they don't care about since Saban has been there, I think this is a lot of what Saban did. He said, look, here's the bottom line. We're here to win. And I think as long as DeBauer does that, we're fine. The second he doesn't, he's going to have problems. As long as you're successful, and here's the thing that I want to get across to my fellow Alabama fans. If you expect him to come in here and win the playoff next year, okay, we need to relax on our standards, okay, for a year. A year. Give him time to recruit, maybe 2. But as long as he makes the playoff and wins round 1, then there hasn't been a drop-off, okay?
Okay.
Because round 1 takes it
I can see that.
to 8 teams.
Sure.
Okay, or 6 teams, whatever it is. And once round one, or 18, yeah, it takes it to 18. So once round one is done, as long as we're in the 18 part of the playoff, that's fine. If he gets a bye and he's automatically in the second round, well, then we're talking about we might have found another piece of gold in the mine where nobody else was looking.
I still got to win a playoff game, in my opinion. Still got to win a playoff
He's got to
game.
win, so he might. So he's got to give time. It might, but if he's one of the top four, that means he won the SEC in his first year. Kirby Smart's got his quarterback coming back. Texas has got their quarterback coming back, both in the SEC, both with schedules that I think all three of ours, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia, look horrendous as far as the teams that we do have to play. But we have our quarterback coming back. You know, Milroe's coming back as of right now.
Yeah.
But you're losing a lot of scholarship players to the transfer portal, and he doesn't have time. You've got to make this stuff up like right now. Like it's not happening in time. You've got to do it today. And I think a lot of the Washington guys are going to come over here, and that's great. But I think
you said it best. I think you said it best. Winning solves everything. He shows up and wins. No one's going to have a problem. None of the boosters, none of the Roll Tide community. Winning fixes everything. Winning shows up. And speaking of that, we're going to talk about another place where winning fixes everything, because the golf world is blowing up with news. We all know about the Live PGA Tour split. Whatever side of the fence you fall on, I'm of the mindset of any division in professional sports is not good. Put the best people together, let the best people play. I'm okay with Live having a tour and playing, but let them all play together. What are we doing here? So, Justin, I know you know Rory McIlroy was the face of the PGA Tour fighting Live.
Yes.
Rory was very, very much against Live, and he was carrying the flag for the PGA Tour until the secret backroom deal with the PIF was done. And when that was done without Rory's input, without his knowledge, I think Rory said, you know what, I'm going to focus on being a golfer. So during one of the meetings, I think it's fascinating, they were talking about the FedEx Cup points and how it's very top heavy. The money in the player impact program, the PIP, it's very top heavy. And in that meeting, one of the players stood back and said, hey, listen, this is unfair. The 250th guy in the room didn't even have a chance to make this money. He was spouting off things, and Roy said, shut up and play better. Well, just play better. That guy in the back of the room just won the most recent PGA Tour event. So that's what we're looking at. He played better, and now he's in. And so now the interesting part is I want to see what happens in the golfing community this coming week and into next weekend, where we see he played better, he got in the signature events. Let's see what happens.
Oh, so I think that's exactly what the player make money if you're your search a lot thing does. It makes you have to do things that you don't want to do. I am sick of the argument that this goes out to Robert Levy, that Tiger Woods was given all this money when he started in 1996. Well, you know what? He earned every dollar that he ever made.
Absolutely.
If you look at the standard that he set for himself, if I'm going to play in the tournament, I'm going to try and win. These guys have ridden the coattails of Tiger Woods since 1996 and made ridiculous amounts of money, finishing in second place and beyond. I am sick of. There's nobody should complain about that. Why not pay the people that bring people to golf? Because here's the bottom line. We like watching golf. I can watch golf. I can watch some women's golf, but I can watch golf. The issue with it is the most of the country isn't turning in to watch golf.
That's the hard part. How do you get viewers who are casual fans, right? I think that's what every sport is. We talk about a lot with horse racing too. How do you get the casual fan, the casual sports bettor, to turn in on not just the Derby or the Preakness or the Belmont, but turn in on those days where it's not the big races? For golf, how do you get that casual fan to turn in when it's not the four majors, when it's not April at Augusta, right? And that's my thing. So I didn't mention it earlier, but Grayson Murray is the player that won. And Grayson Murray was the one that spoke up. And what he was trying to say was the FedEx Cup points make it hard to even get into that top to where you're even eligible to even make more money, to get more points. And so what he was saying was, we're almost set up to fail. And Rory's like, play better. Well, you and I both know with golf, Justin, sometimes you're going to hit a peak. Sometimes that's the best you can absolutely play. You may not be able to go out and shoot 61, in an opening Thursday, Friday round. You just may not have that skill level or that talent. You could put in 10,000 hours of practice and beyond and more and et cetera. Practice harder than anyone. And you may not be able to get to that level. And so that's what I think he was trying to say was this is a professional sport where it has less people playing it as a professional than most sports out there, than any sport out there, and that I think. And so the PGA Tour, what he was trying to say was make it a little bit, more, make it fair, give us a chance. Let us have an ability to play in these designated events for this unreal type of money that we all can agree LIV is the catalyst that brought that money in. And so with the LIV deal, whatever side of the fence you fall on, my biggest thing is we want to see the best players play together more often than just 4 times a year. Find a way to let LIV and PGA Tour coexist because, like you said, casual fans, we've got to find a way for them to tune in, not just on the 4 majors and then the Ryder Cup.
I mean, if Grayson Murray is something that you want to, if somebody wants to stand on that hill and fight for people like Grayson Murray, well, let's have an in-season tournament for them. And the NBA did it. They rewarded the crap Lakers with a title, and they hung a banner. I mean, why don't we just get a title for Grayson Murray or players like him now that he's got a win and say, here you go. Let's make it fair for you. Here's a tournament you can win. You can go to Queenfield Golf Club right down here in Quinton, Virginia, and go play down there, and you can beat Justin Hare and Robert Levy and Barry Hare. Y'all have a little foursome, and you can go win because that's what is the problem in this country right now. We do not have athletes that want to win games. The athletes that want to win are getting old and moving on. The ones now are like, I'm going to catch that $20 million check for the year. I'm done. What do I need to do? I'm not going to risk things to not do that. Right now, if you look at the state of golf, I think Roy McIlroy hit it on the head. Okay? He said the other day, have like a Champions League, which is European soccer, okay? But have a Champions League.
Football, Justin,
golf.
European football. European
right. Football, sorry. And to me, it's exactly what LIV Golf is doing, but LIV Golf isn't bringing the best players over there. And
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. Now, hold on. Back up. You're talking about LIV Golf has half of the current majors. The major winners, excuse me.
No, I agree. They're not bringing the best players over there. Top to bottom. I'm not talking about that. They do have probably 3 out of the top 5 best players in the world.
John Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Cameron Smith. I mean, you're talking about some heavy-hitting names.
Cameron Smith gets on my nerves. But Koepka and Rahm, I'd love to take back to the PGA Tour. I can't stand Brooks Koepka, but when that boy wants to play, when Brooks Koepka says, I'm going to go out there and win, that's what he does. And he doesn't do it by like a stroke. He goes out there and says, I just went to Pound Town on you, let's go.
One of my favorite quotes was that Ryder Cup one, when the reporter asked him, how many people actually want to step up and have to hit that putt? He said, all of them will say it, very few mean it. And I believe he's one of the few that says, when the game's on the line, he wants to be the one with the pressure. And listen, I respect that. I played that way. I always want to be the one with the ball in my hands at the end. I want to be the one with the pressure. I want to have the 8-footer uphill left to right and see if I can bury it to win this, member guest, win this, boys league, win this, whatever you're playing. If it's your weekday, if you're a weekend round, I want to have that putt. I want to be in that situation. And that's why I've always been a fan of Brooks. Brooks has been in the news lately too. I know we talked about that, but we're going to get to that in a second. But finishing the Rory thought, this Champions League, tell our listeners, what's that about? What's this Champions League that Roy was kind of trying to design?
So what you would do is you would have, let's say 70 golfers in the top division, and you would take the rest of the tours and put them behind the PGA Tour or the Champions League, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this is the top tour within the PGA Tour. So LIV Golf and PGA Tour are supposed to merge. So you'd have that tour, you'd have the PGA Tour, you'd have the Asian Tour, you'd have the European Tour. Whatever these small tours, the Corn Ferry, all that stuff. You have all those, and basically you just have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set there, and the bottom 10 or the bottom 20, whatever it is, the number, it doesn't matter. The bottom 20 go down, the top 20 and the tour below go up, and you work it the whole way. You have to figure out numbers because when you get down to 5 leagues, you have to figure out the numbers a little bit. But I like it. And I think the way Roy was stating it, or I hope the way he was stating it is basically this. So if we did this, we would do it to where you'd have this tour would play, let's just call them signature events. They already have those, right?
Sure.
We'd play all the signature events, and then we'd have the majors would be open, If you qualify, you can play, regardless of where you stand in your division. Okay, and then we'd have 5 to 10 to 12 events that were open events. Okay, a Monday or
But
Tuesday.
isn't that splitting golf more than bringing it together? Doesn't that alienate golf more? Because now you're talking about you have the casual fan has to turn into 1, 2, 3 tours. I mean, even fans like yourself and I that watch it just about every weekend. I mean, we really don't miss a lot of golf on the weekend. We got to now watch what, 3 tours?
No, you don't have to watch 3 tours. You can. The thing is you're going to get let's say it's the top 125. You get to 126, Mike. Who's the 126 player in the world? You know what I'm saying? So, at that time, it gives guys like Grayson Murray who haven't won yet and have now won, but guys like him a chance. They a chance to make it, and you'd still see them on tour. Okay, you're not just seeing them on their tour. You're going to see them on the PGA Tour. They're going to have to qualify, where it's a Monday, Tuesday qualifier. But I think the one thing I will say about Grayson Murray's comment is that either the PGA Tour or somebody has got to start subsidizing some of these players that don't have any money to travel.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I know that's
only professional sport where you could show up. Only professional sport you could show up and lose money.
Individual sport have no qualms about it.
Here we go.
What it is.
Give me a break.
No, I'm not going to listen to that. If you're choosing to play a professional sport, I don't care, because you can go get a job.
It's a job. It's a professional job. You should get paid for your efforts.
I understand that. But you and me can't go play professional golf tomorrow. It's not possible. Okay.
No, we can go work professional jobs, and we show up and get paid. This guy showed up and got paid, got put on TV, and you missed the cut and you get nothing.
Well,
only professional sport where you can show up and it costs you money.
Yes, I know. I know. Gosh, that's why we need the Champions League, because then we get 125 guys that aren't worried about travel pay because it's covered.
Oh, here we go. Talking about being covered. So we covered this last week with Tiger leaving Nike. We all thought Nike was out of golf. It was just going to, whatever we got on the shelves, whatever we're making in golf, whatever, golf clothes we already make, we're just going to keep it out there. And then bang, surprise, it gets released on social media. It looks like Nike may be jumping to Live Golf. What'd you see out there, Justin?
I think they're making a smart move with one of the best players in the country or in the world. Hey, we're not just gonna sponsor you. We're gonna sponsor your team now and Live Golf. And honestly, it's a smart decision because Live is really pushing the clothing now. I don't think it means they're going into Live Golf. They have, one of their top golfers is a Nike guy. Brooks has always been a Nike guy. They're just buying in more to his product. Because they need to have something. Again, like I said last week, I think the end of Nike Golf is upon us. At the same time, but the clothing part, the apparel, I guess, but honestly, Mike, when you shut down clubs, balls, and you have apparel left, nobody cares about Brooks Koepka. It's not Tiger Woods. It's not Ricky Fowler with Puma. We're talking about somebody that is dead in the water and trying to make a splash because Live Golf wants to promote their clothing now.
I don't know. I think I have a different take on this. I was actually kind of excited when you showed this to me because you're the one that pointed this out to me. And when I saw Brooks Koepka's team smash GC, I believe, and I couldn't confirm this, and someone can fact check us out there, but I believe this is the first Live team to get an actual sponsor, to get an actual clothing sponsor. I believe, we've all seen them wear the logos and the chest and the hat and different things, but I think this is the first major apparel company to sponsor a Live team. That's big news, especially in wake of the framework agreement that came out with the PIF and PGA Tour. And they've said all along, Liv's not going away. They got to figure out a way to not merge them, but coexist would be a good term, and also have the best players play in the world. But Nike jumping into Live Golf, that opens the door, Justin, for other companies to pump some money into Live and make this more of a streamlined thing. You put this on an actual major television network, Live may take off more than people thought.
Yeah, if that happens, we don't know what the deal is, and they did sponsor. It's the first apparel sponsor for a team, a big one. There might be another one, but it's Nike. They're the biggest one in the world. I just you have to see the details. If it's If it's a big money thing, then great. If it's not, then it's the same thing that CW is doing with the broadcasting it. It's just doing something to be the first. It's not doing something to do it well. I mean, look, I think Live Golf has its place. I think that one of the players brought up the other day, John Rahm going to Live Golf is great for him and his family. Listen, I am not going to tell anybody in the world that if you offered me $200 million, I wouldn't take it. Okay, let's not be stupid here. At the end of the day, though, but I would tell people that they offered me $200 million. Okay, that's why I left. Whatever, I left, right? But one of the things that the player brought up was he said, at the end of the day, he'll never touch any records in the PGA Tour. He'll never come close.
I don't know if that's true.
Nobody will win 82 events.
Oh, no, I agree there.
I mean,
Whoa, yeah.
Even if there was a chance, even if they play, but he'll never do that. And you're talking about, you look at Brooks Koepka, who I think he is just one of these guys that, he can play golf at the drop of a hat and play it really well. And he has his bad days, don't get me wrong, but Brooks Koepka is a different animal when it comes to golf. John Rahm has to practice and play really well. But, man, the fiery spirit he has, I mean, that's part of the reason Michael really changed his tune, because now you're missing him on the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, no chance.
John Rahm's a bad dude, man.
Oh, man, he's a problem. There's no chance the European Ryder Cup doesn't show up in New York at Bethpage Black without John Rahm. There's just no chance. Both sides are trying to compete to get the first away win in decades. And you're telling me that you're going to show up on U.S. soil without John Rahm? Get out of here. There's just no chance. There's no chance they do that. And again,
I don't think so.
Rory I think Rory changed his tune too, because he saw Rory got backdoored, by Monahan on this framework deal with the PIF, and I think that they cutting him out specifically when he was spending hours upon hours upon hours, and we saw his golf game go down a little bit, Justin. I mean, you talk about Rory, he just barely missed out on the U.S. Open. I mean, I remember him being in the fairway and he had a wedge in his hand and hit to 45, 50 feet. That's got to be a tight one in there when you're coming down the stretch. Let me tell you, Tiger didn't leave that out there 50 feet. When he came down the stretch like that on a Sunday on the 18th hole, you just can't do that. And so, but I also think Rory was dealing with a lot more issues and stress and worries, and it no doubt it visibly affected his game. I'm excited to see how Rory plays. Shout out to Austin. I do have an agreement, agreement with him that I don't think Rory wins at Augusta. I just don't think he can win there. That's definitely going to be a hot take and hot topic. Let's see what you guys got to say about that. But Rory will not win at Augusta. But I'm excited to see him when he does the rest of the way out, because again, he's one of the best players in the world, but I want to also see the rest of the best players in the world play together. We got to find out something. I do think Live and PGA Tour coexist at some point. I don't want to say merge, but I think they end up playing the best players playing events together. Maybe it's elevated events or FedEx Cup. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But in a couple of years, I think we're talking all about this, that some of those Live guys went out and got their money, and now they're back and they're playing on the same events.
I think just last point on Rory right quick. I think the problem that bothers him so much is that he stood by Monahan's side, and I would really hate to think that Tiger knew and didn't tell Roy, look, here's what's getting ready to go down. I don't think he did.
No chance Tiger knew.
Here's the thing: is Tiger got offered $1 billion? Okay. I mean, Roy
rumored,
not rumored. I mean, I'm telling you, if they didn't offer him $1 billion, they're idiots. But Rory had to have been offered $500 million. If you're giving John Rahm $3 million, you got to offer Rory $5 million.
I think Rory got offered more than that. I think for sure Rory got.
Turned down that kind of that's the thing. Like, if you can't,
that's life-changing money.
Life-changing money like that. You can't be upfront with a guy like that who turned down that kind of money.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
shame on you.
Monahan should not be allowed to do what he's doing now.
No.
He has ruined any chance of me or anybody in this country believing anything he says anymore. I mean, he got what he wanted. But the worst part about it is, because if you know me, I cannot stand Phil Mickelson, is he made Phil Mickelson right, and I cannot stand that. That man he's just, Mickelson is a snake in the grass. He's no different than Shooter McGavin. That's exactly what he is.
Shooter McGavin. Shooter.
I just, it's amazing what he has done to this to the golf world. I mean, it really is sad what he did. Now, the great thing about it is Rory went ahead and said, "Hey, here's the thing. Maybe I was wrong to talk about the live guys the way I did. I get it, but now I want to move forward."
Well, it's that age-old lesson too.
Past.
Yeah, it's that age-old lesson too. Look, don't burn the bridge down. Don't nuke the bridge, because you never know when you have to repair. You never know when you have to walk back across that. Just like the thing, don't, in the private sector, don't burn things down, because you never know if that employee for you ends up being your boss one day. So you think about like Rory and everybody taking these huge stances against Liv. And now look, a lot of them are walking it back, and it looks bad. That's the thing. If you feel passionate about someone, follow your passion. I'm never going to tell someone to not follow their passion. I'm a big believer in that. Go where you want to go, follow your passion, but at the same time, don't leave a trail behind you that you're not willing to walk back and help out or pick up or whatever it is if you have to go there. You got to be humble enough to go back there. That's definitely something we're going to touch on more on this podcast is life things like that, and how sports can be a metaphor for life. And so with that said, I don't like how I'm really impressed with so many people walking it back and being humble. I think John Rahm said it really well. I think Roy's handled it well. Roy's gotten a lot of negative publicity lately, and I don't think a lot of it's deserving. I really don't. I think he wants to play golf, but listen, when you're one of the best in the world, the cameras are going to follow you, and that's something Tiger handled, I think, better than anyone. And especially in his prime, especially now as well, especially after a lot of the injuries he's had. So I think that's something that we keep an eye on this year. Let's see how Rory does. I do expect him to get a win, just not at Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, I see him winning one, maybe two majors. He's got to compete.
Wow,
I mean,
bold prediction.
Brooks and
Bold
Rahm
prediction.
are going to be there. Well, I think he, like you said, he's letting a lot go. I mean, you got to remember he dealt with something, and was pretty much the player rep as to how this needs to go away, and it's not golf. It's not the PGA Tour. Yes, it's not the PGA Tour, but it's not 4 rounds. There's 20 different things that it's not.
Sure.
And he did that. He was there, and now that you take that off of him, he can just play golf again and have fun. He removed himself from the players committee, and those things, when you take that stress off and you can go, you just free yourself. I mean, how freeing is it going to be? Now the question is it freeing up time at home with his wife? And
Sure.
He's going to be like, what?
Yeah, family first, right?
I'm gonna take the Tiger approach. I'm gonna play 10 events a year, and that's what I'm gonna do. And you hate to see that, because I want to see him play every week. I like me some Roy
Sure.
McIlroy, except during the Ryder Cup. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's
We'll see how it goes. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the golf season this year. I really am. It's kicking off. It's about to ramp up into full swing, and I'm really excited for it. So, we got you a little riled up, and I know our listeners love it when they hear that passion, emotion, and a little bit of anger, a hint of anger come out of me from this. I'm gonna rile you up again, because we got you riled up with golf. Justin, aim point. We're seeing this new wave, and listen, I didn't think it'd be here to stay. I thought it was a fad. Everyone putts differently. I've seen people putt, right-handed golfers putt left-handed. People putt one arm. People, putt with a broomstick. Everything you can think of to putt. Putting's all mental and all feel. You and I have played many rounds of golf together, so aim point definitely looks like it's here to stay. But Justin, 3-footers. We're doing aim put on 3-footers. I mean, what are we doing here?
Camila Viegas laid down on the green to read putts, and I was like, this is insane. Now we're taking a 3-foot putt. The aim point should be the bottom of the cup. What are you looking at? I have never in my life. Your foot is literally 4 inches from the ball and 6 inches from the cup. What are you doing? You're a professional golfer. Okay? I am, I mean,
Getting him riled up, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is.
It's just absolutely insane that this is how we're reading putts this day and age. I can understand that this is a new way, and everybody's looking for what's next, right?
Sure.
If you got a 50-foot putt and you try and tell me that you can aim point this thing and make it, yep, I'm going to tell you I can go win Augusta right now with one arm. It's not happening, folks.
Here's the thing, too, that I don't understand about. I mean, listen, I've done some research on this. I've watched actually some really good YouTube golf that have had professionals on there. Adam Scott being one of them is a big aim point guy. We see Morikawa doing it. We see Keegan did it this past weekend on short putts. What I think is interesting about this aim point is they're using their feet to feel the slope, right? And they're using this, but again, the PGA Tour is going to have to do something with how long it takes for a golfer to read this putt with their feet on how many steps they go. They turn around, they do it backwards, they do it this, and then they finally get up there and then go through their pre-shot routine and then finally take their putt. And again, if you blow it 5 feet past, you're starting the whole thing over again. We're doing aim point again. The PGA Tour is going to have to crack down because if you have a full field, Justin, there was quite a few tournaments last year that they had to suspend rounds because of darkness because they couldn't get the entire round in. What are we doing here? It's taking forever.
There are golf courses where in Richmond, and I'm sure all over the great country of the United States of America, that have timers, little wooden plaques that say what time in your round you should be at each hole. I have yet to hit one on time yet in the last 4 years. Golf has slowed down so much because everybody thinks they're Tiger Woods or they're Phil Mickelson or whoever you want to be that day. And you're not. Get over the ball, read the putt, and putt it. Now, for the pros out there, I get it. You're playing for hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. I fully understand that you're trying to make the putt. But all we're doing is raising a bunch of Sergio Garcias. Practice swing, sit over the ball, tap your club, move your hips. I mean, whatever you got to do for 20 minutes, and then we're going to take a shot. And then you're going to go take it again because it's that bad.
But my thing is, okay, so over the shot with a driver, iron, wedge, whatever it may be, I understand doing through a pre-shot routine, checking wind, slope, grain. I'm all for that. Brian Harmon waggles 15 times, and he's even said he wished he didn't do it. Listen, when I first started playing, I was probably the slowest golfer of all of our friends. And listen, and I realized that, and I had to work really hard to overcome that, and I did, and I got past that. And I think Brian Harmon was great when he said, "Listen, I wish I didn't waggle this many times in front of all the fans across the pond when he had to win the Open." But here's my thing: that's different than putting. There's no practice stroke. There's no I need to waggle, get my feet. None of that. There's nothing like that. The ball is going to roll in the green. You read it left to right break, right to left break, uphill, downhill, and that's it. Move on. And then put a good stroke on it. But taking almost 4 minutes to read the putt and then execute, that is absurd. Everything is slowing down on the greens because we're seeing people wait. I remember the classic picture of Brooks and John Rahm waiting on the tee box and just waiting for Patrick Cantlay to move on. I mean, I know he's gotten hit for slow play, but here's my point in all this. The PGA Tour has rules in place that you can get penalized for slow play, and yet we don't do it. Why have the rule then? Why have the rule?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the old saying goes, you drive for show, putt for dough. So I get it to an extent, but the 3 foot, the aim point putt the other day really just got me. And I think the hard part at the end of the day is that these guys, it's almost like they don't put in enough work at home. Like they're trying to work on a golf course. Like you got to go out and play now. I mean, reading putts, if you watch Tiger, if you watch Rory, you watch these guys that can really putt. Jordan Spieth used to putt really well. Guys that used to putt or still putt really, really well. They don't take all this time. A teacher, a golf professional, Mr. Tom Berry out of Jefferson Lakeside Country Club used to tell me all the time, if you get over the ball and you swing 7-8 times, you've used your best swing in one of those
sure.
swings.
Without a doubt.
And what he was saying is that just get up there, you take a practice swing, and then go at it. You don't want to spend too much time thinking. And I think a lot of these guys are overthinking what they're doing instead of just taking a deep breath, trusting their gut, and putting the ball. Sunday at the U.S. Open, you've got a 15-foot putt to make to go to a playoff. It won't no 20 minutes stare down the putt. It was, let's get over top of it, took a read or two, knocked it in, went to the playoff, won in 19 holes on a broken leg.
Oh, man, one of the great.
There's
one of the greatest tournaments.
That can do that.
Oh,
Okay.
I watched that live. I was in West Virginia, just getting out of school. Marshall University, not WVU. Let me be real clear on that one. Marshall
Thunder and
University.
Herd.
I never forget watching that tournament. I watched all of Sunday. I watched all of Monday. Incredible, incredible tournament. So, but keeping with this aim point real quick, Justin, have you seen aim point at your local golf courses? Is this making its way to the amateur ranks? Are we seeing guys out there on your casual Saturday, Sunday round, guys or girls out there? They hit driver wedge, get up on the green, they start doing aim point.
No. Uh, One, I don't play with sophisticated enough players to do that. And two, the places I play aren't sophisticated enough to even know what aim point is. Trust me, when you look up, if our viewers don't know what aim point is, I would like you to take a minute, get in your phone, go to the search, and type in aim point. And what you're going to find, the first thing that pops up on mine is the original aim point contained 600 numbers in a bullseye-looking diagram. Now, you tell me, at Queenfield Golf Club, how many rednecks could be out there reading a 600-point bullseye-looking diagram unless they practicing with their bow and arrow? Not many of them. And that's not a negative thing. This is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, read the putt. The one great thing about Tiger, and he practices and practiced a lot to win all the tournaments he did, but he had feel. John Daly, same way, could feel the ball in their hands while they were standing over it watching. Could feel the club touch the ball. Like, we get away from the feel part and we go into all these analytics, and a lot of it, you can't win with analytics in golf. You've got to feel what you're doing. You've got to understand what the ball does when you feel it's like a NASCAR
Still got to
driver.
execute. Yeah, still got to execute.
Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise ain't driving your car, baby. You got to know what's going on under the hood. And in golf, if you don't know what you're doing with your clubs and the ball coming off, what are you doing out there? And don't bring up Adam Scott again. He was a cheater, had an 18-foot-long putter. He
here we go.
Up to his neck putting, and that's why they outlawed it, because it was ridiculous.
What a mess. Here we go, this guy. So if you're out there at your local club and you're seeing people in front of you do aim point, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us on X at Up and Running Pod. I'm Mike. That's Justin. Justin, I think we hit all of our topics. What else we have? We got to close this with a good one. What else you got for the listeners?
Well, I don't want to leave with this, because I did find something for me to some new gear. Hopefully, I'll have in the next couple weeks. But I do want to make a couple mentions. Again, we are going to cover all the sports here on the Up and Running Pod. Couple things. I don't. This is kind of a sad note, but the Warriors coach passed away today after a heart attack. And honestly, what it's terrible. No matter when it happens, it's terrible. But just another notch on their horrible season that they're having as far as just outside noise. But that's sad. 46 years old, just out to dinner with the guys and has a heart attack and dies from it. As far as the NBA goes right now, the big story there for me would be the amount of points being scored. If you're a gambler, the over-unders are all over 220 points. Very few of them are under, if any at all. The average is right around 230, in between 220 and 230. But it is crazy how the NBA is just scoring points now. Absolutely insane. And your normal teams are winning. Boston, Milwaukee. Dallas is doing some stuff. The Golden State's not having a terrible year, but the 82 games, 41-41 gets you in the playoffs. I don't understand that, but
yeah, 46 is young. Yeah, listen, 46 is young, and definitely that's a sad day, it's sad news, and we, definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, coaches, and players. That's gotta rattle a locker room. It's horrible for the family, and so again, that's a family. We're a big family first on this podcast. We've always mentioned that to each other, well before we even started this. But that's something that we definitely didn't want to go without mentioning that. So thank you for bringing that up, Justin.
Yeah, and the thing is a lot of, and it's not a comparison here, but a lot of shows won't bring stuff. They'll mention it and leave on, but that's part of the perspective you're getting here. What in the coming days, not use it as necessarily a talking point, but how do you if a coworker of yours were to die, how would you feel about that? What would that do? That's just heartbreaking. These guys are with this guy 82 nights of the year.
Yeah.
for primetime stuff, and then the rest, 5 or 6 days a week practicing. I mean, it's just a lot. It's like losing a family member. And not to leave short on that, but that's the NBA for right now. High scoring, and just really thinking about the Warriors right now, and prayers to them. As we venture over to hockey, as I have my Colorado Avalanche shirt on tonight.
There we go.
Hockey is kind of the same. High scoring. Your average goals over under is 6.5 now. I mean, it's just offense is crazy. Goalies aren't great, but the scores are everywhere. I'm an Avalanche fan. We're in third place right now in the West. Locally for me, it would be the Capitals, and they are horrible. Mike, your closest team is Dallas?
Dallas would be my closest, but I definitely root for the Knights. I didn't grow up a hockey fan, but I've gotten into it later in life, and I went to a Vegas Knights game when I was out there, and I thought it was an incredible show and production they put on, outside of the game. I mean, it's a Vegas-style production out there. Team played well. I really enjoyed myself at the game. I've gone several times since then. And so if I had to pull for a team, it's going to be the Knights, for no other reason than I really enjoyed the experience being at the game. But again, listen, I know there's some absolute diehard, live and die kind of fans in hockey, and I'm not trying to tread lightly on that. If I had to pick a team, that's who it would be. But I enjoy the sport. I enjoy going to the games. That's where I stand.
Oh, well, they're not doing bad. They're fifth in the West right now. Hey, listen, we're going to give you a little bit of everything. Obviously, through 2 episodes, you can tell what we really, really care about and love. Speaking of that, one of Mike and I's favorite athletes, Tiger Woods, was caught the other day with some gear in his hand by one Travis Matthew.
We'll see what happens with that. I'm curious to see if Tiger's going to have his own apparel deal. We talked about this, or is he going to roll with Travis Matthew? I have several items of Travis Matthew. This hat is a Travis Matthew hat. You can't see the front of it, but I can tell you, I am a Travis Matthew apparel fan. So if Tiger goes to Travis Matthew, I would definitely buy them. There's a few other brands out there. I mean, I definitely don't mind mentioning. I get it. No free ads, but at the same time, we're going to get free ads on this one. We're just started. We're just up and running. By the way, not to be too cliche, but my thing is, you talk about Travis Matthew. Peter Millar is another great. There's Grayson out there. Charlie was seen in some Grayson clothing. There's some great golf apparel out there, and so we'll see what happens with Tiger Woods. But again, as Justin mentioned, we're going to try and touch on a lot of different sports. We are going to give you the most recent, up-to-date things that hit our desk that you would find in your group chat with your friends. And if you want us to have a segment on something, reach out to us. Let us know how you feel. Give us a topic to talk about. Debate us. Let us know what your bold predictions are, what your hot topics are, and Justin and I are definitely going to cover it. So, Justin, you think Tiger goes to Travis Matthew?
Well, my big thing was I saw the video and I was like, well, I'm a big hat guy. I love my hats, and I saw a few that I liked on the site and was excited and ready to pull the trigger if Tiger goes that way. A fun fact I learned, it's really not fun because it kind of makes what I did last night pointless, but Callaway owns Travis Matthew, and Tiger is a TaylorMade guy and a FootJoy shoe man. So I don't know that he'd be getting the apparel from them. TaylorMade doesn't really have an apparel line, and FootJoy doesn't either for that matter. So he could, we could go back to the old school PS3 Tiger Woods days where you can have all different brands on your body and your clubs and everything. So I would like
another game you did not beat me at either.
Yes.
So I hope Tiger just goes with the simple T-Dub logo on the chest, Sunday red, and let's get it. If he goes to the brand, listen, I'll be a fan, but T-Dub up top, T-Dub on the chest, let's go.
Well, if he makes his own brand, that's fine. Here's my question. So if he goes to Travis Matthew, does he get to use the TW logo and the TM logo?
He's Tiger Woods.
Well, I know, but I'm saying
he can use whatever logo he wants to.
TW and TM on it, or does TM become like the chest patch and Tiger Woods stay where it is? TW.
How about this? We'll put the up and running logo on his left sleeve. How about that?
All day long. There was something that just completely left my mind there, but yeah. I know what it was, because we were talking about Tiger Woods and how I couldn't beat you in that. Just for some old heads here that used to play this game, because nobody under the age of 18, I believe, has. College football is coming back out on the PS5.
Yeah, I saw that.
July 12th, 2024. By far one of the best games they ever made.
100% agree. 100%
EA
agree.
Sports used to own the world of sports games, and they still do, with the exception of basketball and golf, and I believe baseball is going to 2K Sports too. But exciting. That's exciting news. I'm excited for it. That's something different we haven't had in years. And you young folks, if you like college football, EA Sports does a good job. Hopefully they bring this game out and it kicks butt, but we'll see.
True that. Well, listen, guys, that's going to be it for us on episode 2. We really appreciate you all hanging out with us. Again, with the Up and Running Podcast, you can find us on X at Up and Running Pod. Justin's Twitter handle is there, or X's handle there. Mine is there as well. Give us a like, give us a shout out, whatever you think. Also, wherever you listen to your podcast, if you're on Spotify, give us a rating, give us a comment, let us know. Definitely, Justin, this has been an exciting episode. We definitely know our listeners are going to enjoy it. But before we sign off, I definitely want to say, with the Warriors coach passing, for all those out there, hug your loved ones. You never know when you're not going to get. You never know when it's going to be that last day. Make sure you get that time in with them. Hug them. Family first, more important. Justin, as always, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. See you next week.